log into ICANS, when you get the link and put your login, this is what's going to come up when you initially log in. Okay. Now, what you could find on this part is when you have reminders of when certain things are due, when you can set reminders for yourself, like, okay, I have to do my notes by this time, and this is where you'd find this. Okay. Um, our most important feature, I'm gonna tell you guys about what's going on, but I want us to get to the main thing, which is the notes, okay, which is our clients and their notes. So we're gonna go to the chart room. Think of ICANS as a file cabinet, okay? We're gonna think of it as a file cabinet, and that's kind of the format that they use, okay? So as you see, this is my platform. This is what comes up. If I want to look for a client specifically, I can type them in this blue box. The main thing that we're going to do, we're going to go to therapy groups. We're going to go look at our groups. And as you see, our group, my group right here is ALH Group Home. I don't know if I introduced myself to you all. My name is Catherine Johnson. I'm with A Loving Heart, mainly in the capacity with the group home, with the boys group home, and doing case management there, doing groups there. I love it. This makes me so excited. I feel like I'm not even at work, but so I'm excited to push us along on the ICANN system and documenting all the good things that we're doing, because it's such a great thing to be working with amazing people of excellence, and then just documenting that and getting the funding that we need to do even better services for these youth is what drives me. So we kind of talked before, this is how we get to the entire note. This is how we get to the entire note. To the left in the remark section, that's where we'll talk about each individual client and how they experience the group and the activity. To the right in this yellow box, this is where we'll summarize the entire group. What was the activity? What was the objective? How did people react in general? Okay. And then down here, we also have instructions and recommendations. All right. So now, does anybody have any questions after that? The next thing I'm about to do is actually start a new group.
Now, when you guys went in and did so you guys actually went in and started your own group as well for the folks that have already been in on ICANN?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
Okay. So you all see, and it automatically goes in order. So let's say even like you had a week where you like, okay, I did Monday and I did Friday, and then you're like, okay, I'm about to put my Tuesday note in. You don't have to look for it. You just type in the date and it'll go in order. It's automatically in order. Okay. So I'm gonna add a session.
I do have one question. When we're
Yes.
creating this group, do you want it under one group name, or because we have different age groups, so different counselors will be doing different age groups?
So usually, typically, how you would do your group, you will put how I have everyone do it. You will put your business, your group name in there, and it's only 20 to a group that is billable. Is that correct, Will? Are you doing 20 for billable? Okay, so 20 for billable groups that can note on the children. So if you have 5 QMHSs, you will say your group name and then slash their name for each 20 kids.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
So one person can bill for 20 kids?
That's correct. It's 1 to 20.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna put the date. I'm gonna put the date as the 23rd. Okay. I'm gonna name this group Knowing My Triggers. Okay, and then my name automatically comes up. My service code is automatically up. We do H2020 groups. That's it. It has to at least be 2.5 hours. Okay, so as you all see now, did you see that the boxes turn blue? When the boxes are blue, that means that our remarks are not complete. Okay. So you see also my group came up over here in this box. All right. So how I do, and if you look at the top, it has the group, it has the order of how we do everything. So 1, select a group, create a new one. 2, select a session or create a new one. Now, 3 and 4 are a little interchangeable. For me, I like to go to number 4 to do my I like to do my group summary first. I like to do my group summary and then go ahead and go back and talk. But either way is fine. Okay. So for right now, I'm gonna go ahead to my session remarks, my therapy type. Okay, this is psychoeducation. All right. And then we're also going to do group there. Now, also for some of you all are in a summer camp. You all are doing recreational therapy as well. Is that correct, Miss Murray, Nate?
Yes.
Okay.
They can put CBT too, though. But yeah, CBT is the best one.
CBT as well, cognitive
Yeah.
behavior therapy. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
CBT.
Now, and I have a question about this part. Do we have to, are those the ones that we always need to select? Are there certain ones that we need to select? Or
I
what
think
would
the
you recommend?
CBT is the best one for us, or psychoeducation. And then like with the recreational would be like the sports, and like again, if they at the park all the time, they can use that one too. But CBT is the cognitive behavioral therapy is the
So I
curriculum
have a
that we pretty
question.
much write for
I have
them.
a question.
Go ahead.
So we can use cognitive because since I've been doing this, um, they said we cannot, there's words that we can't use in cognitive behavioral therapy is one because we're not therapists.
I don't, who told you this?
Whatever your supervisor, because again with TCA, whatever your supervisors told you, just do it that way, and we're fine with that. We're just here to train again on going through and just actually the exercise of going through the progress note in terms of the So
I'm sorry. Well, I missed the question. What was the question?
we're not gonna answer it here. We could just put that in
Okay.
the chat and answer it offline, because I wanted to kind of just really stick on writing the actual progress note, because I think that's
Yep.
what most
If you
people
have
want.
any questions, you guys can text my phone and I can get those answers for you.
But I think the question is because they need to know which therapy type for their group. So whoever your
If
clinician
their
is,
LPCC is telling them
yeah.
something, we're not even gonna get
Yeah,
into
but
that
I was
process.
just gonna say, like you said, just whenever you have your clinician, when you guys get on, they'll tell you which ones to answer for your group.
Okay.
Okay. And then we're gonna go to group therapy. All right. Ours is more than likely activity therapy.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
activity therapy
And
includes
it
a
gives us,
variety of activities designed to help the group members learn more about themselves, problem solve, express feelings in appropriate ways, reduce stress and improve relationships with others. They may participate in art, music, exercise, sports, games, and other activities. So let's talk about what kind of activity, what could you do under a group type like this? Give me some examples. I'm gonna start off with Miss Kadra. I'm gonna start with you.
Look, I'm doing 2 trainers at once.
Okay. Give me something.
I'm
That
doing
means
2
you're a
trainers at once.
multitasker. Okay. Somebody else, give me an
One on my
example.
computer, one on the phone.
Karma, mute your phone.
Huh?
Give me an example. What kind of
I said I'm
activities
doing
can we do
2
with this?
trainers at once. One on the computer.
Your
Hold
and
phone
on,
one-
is on.
Karma,
Karma.
your phone is on mute.
I would say I've been doing filling charades. The kids like that. If
What's it
y'all know
called
what
again?
charades is, we just add the emotions sad, mad, angry,
Okay.
and it's
Okay.
going towards like your triggers.
That's good. That's good. Anybody else?
Done it as well.
Okay. And we all need to participate. So I need to hear something from at least 3 or 4 people. And maybe if you want to put it in, if you want to put it in the chat, that's fine. But yeah. What kind of activities could flow good with this? What kind of activities are you doing in your groups? Brianna, Jacob, Miss Toya, what kind of activities are you doing?
I mean, we normally start off in the morning after breakfast, do our affirmations with the kids, and then take a small walk and do some stretching and some physical exercise for about 30 minutes. But as we're doing that, we're still going over affirmations at the same time as we're counting. We have to do some affirmations like at the end of whatever that number might be.
Yeah.
I
The
like
bigger
to
group.
do deep breathings with my kids or the 5 sense groundings where they tell you how they feel, what they hear, things, taste, smell. We go over all of that. I also tell them to do journaling. I have brought all the kids journals for them to journal each and every day about how they feel when they wake up, how they're feeling while we're at group, and how the group is progressing, and how they feel at the end of the day.
Okay. That's
I
good.
Perfect. So it sounds
also
like
have
y'all
done
all
vision
got
boards.
Yeah.
that's good. How did they do with the vision boards with that concept with, like
Most of them did great with their vision boards. Some they struggle in the areas of spelling and comprehension. So that's been my focus this past week is getting them their spelling together and getting them to comprehend on the activities at hand and how to perform them. Because a lot of my kids have spelling and comprehension problems.
Okay.
see, and when you say things like that, Miss Erica, that's what you would put in this box down here below with the
Right.
instructions and recommendations. You would put like, I've noticed that my students are needing extra phonics, instruction, and this is what
Mm-hmm.
my goal is. So yeah,
Yep.
and that's a perfect example of how our thought process and how we care and teach these children and clients how it kind of goes with the flow of how we create the note. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anybody else want to give an example?
We haven't done this yet, but we have a curriculum, a social emotional curriculum that we're going to implement. We have started to internalize it, but we're going to be teaching it next week. So, just teaching kids like goal setting and having that growth mindset is the first unit that we all focus on. So we split it up
Yeah.
into groups by ages, but we partnered with a curriculum and we'll start that next week. So we're excited about that. Second step is the name of it, social emotional learning.
Yeah. And the great part about with those curriculums is that they already have a lot of the questions that you need to ask to be able to write a good quality progress note.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Something that we do is each kid has to stand up and say their name and give 3 qualities about themselves that they like or that's good. And sometimes I just ask them to use an example. So if they say they're helpful, so if they say I'm kind, helpful, and strong, well, give me an example. And then we just talk about how important it is. I mean, they do it every day, and we just talk about how important it is to think and say positive things about yourself.
That's good. That's good. Now in the chat, we had a vision board again. We had a talent show in the chat. Simone ask each child to bring or pick up a stuffed animal, then tell a story like Teddy. Like, for example, Teddy felt blank today because the child fills in the blanks based on how they feel. The goal is a safe way to protect their feelings project their feelings onto a toy once a week. That's okay. That's good. So pick a stuffed animal and then tell a story. Like Teddy felt Teddy felt good today because it was sunshiny outside. Or Teddy felt sad today because his mom had to go to work and he didn't see her this morning.
Are you putting that in the note?
No. Wait, what are
Yeah, that could be a quote. That could be a quote that you put in the note. That not to Teddy, but you know, if it's the kid, say the kid's name is Johnny. Johnny, do you really feel that way? Yeah, I do feel that way. That could go in the note.
In the individual section.
the direct quote? Yeah.
Direct quote.
Talking about his response.
Yes, correct. His response is a direct quote that we all need. We would like to. It would be best practice to probably collect 2 or 3 direct quotes from the kids during that group.
And that's when you can say they were sad that day, because when you go in, it'll ask you about them individually, how they're feeling. So they were sad today, and as a response, child stated, mom was went to work earlier. Mom wasn't in the home this morning or something. So
So when you guys go into your EHR, do you look over the treatment plan before you write the notes and stuff, right?
yes, we ask that everybody here know their individual treatment plans for the kids and be familiar with them.
Okay.
See, they're new. They're new to this today. A lot of them are starting.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just introducing it.
Cause hi, I'm Joe. Everybody, I'm from Toledo.
Okay, Joe. And what organization are you with, Joe?
I'm with wherever Karma and Nails at. I'm with him.
So if you can, go ahead and put your name.
He has a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because as I'm listening, I'm thinking about what we're doing here. As far as the organization that I'm currently with, hopefully I won't be with them long. But what we do is through our summer program, through the curriculum, we put down the curriculum for each day, but also at the end of the day, notes are already written out for us to write. You know what I'm saying? So there the extra things that you notice about the client, you could put in there. But you know, one of the things that we're trying to do is make sure that the note that's written is clinically sound, number one. Number two, is not repetitive where it won't bring a red flag. And also it saves us a lot of time, because a lot of us, you know, when we write notes, you know, we don't know how to write client coordinated. Writer coordinated with client to discuss his assessment of his treatment plan. That's you know, because they're looking for things and they want to see, you know, especially after Medicaid redesign, they want to see how well we write those notes. That's one of the things that I wanted to send to Neil and Karma, different ways on writing the note, so where when you look at it, you can just go off of that prompt. I have a lot of that once I get my computer up and running, my laptop up and running, I'm going to send to Karma. So hopefully that'll help you guys out, because
So
I'm trying to go ahead.
So today we just trying to introduce them how to use ICANS, just how to use the EHR. So we can go into those specifics later.
This is the 101. This is the 101 course.
Yeah.
Okay.
You already swimming. We just diving in.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason why I'm saying that, I could just send you examples on how that note is written, so that way you can have a better idea on how to write that note. And you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, when I first started, no one taught me. I had to sit under people to teach me how to write a note, so that way, you know, you won't have it thrown back. But that's another subject.
Well, it's not, Joe, because again, you know, please stay on with us. And then as different examples come up, you know, you can add in those examples, because what you just talked about of needing that class, that's what
Mm-hmm.
this is. That's exactly what this is. So so just wherever you want to chime in with some specific examples or things like that, feel free.
Okay.
So Ms. Catherine, go ahead and continue.
Can I just say this too? We're just trying to introduce, some people haven't even started the ICANN note. So we're introducing what, EHR that we're using. So later
Okay.
on, if you can help us to support them in the more specifics of the note. So she's just really trying to introduce this today, and so everybody can know where to
I'm
go
going,
and what it looks like. That's what Miss Catherine is doing, our teacher here today.
one of the, oh, okay, okay.
Go ahead. Go on.
I'm,
Go ahead, Catherine. I'm sorry.
all right.
Yes, no, I like how interactive it is. I like when everybody participates for sure.
we got
For
somebody
sure.
trying to let's get it.
I
Yes.
think as we go along and we see how interactive this software is, like a lot of that language already, that therapeutic language that Joe talked about, is already
Mhm.
included in that. So
It's in there.
yeah. So go ahead, Ms. Catherine.
Yes. And okay, so if you all see, we went to group therapy, activity therapy. You all talked about some practical things that reduce stress, that improve relationships, okay? And also some games and things like that. So I put in you can also type in this box. I don't know if you all saw while we were in here, the template automatically types in. We can also add our own things. So I put down here, for example, because I want to specify what we did, exactly. So for example, each client introduced themselves and gave a descriptive word about themselves to match the first letter of their name. Okay, that was like our icebreaker. And then we played red light, green light for fun. And also we played red light, green light for fun. And also, see, it's good to read it out loud too. Look, I missed it. Also, to indicate to them the feeling of a peer giving directions to control their actions. Because the title of this is Knowing My Triggers. Okay. So just given the specific things that we did. Okay. Now, some of you may have, let me see. I want to see if anything will be different. No, all the things that we'll do will come from activity therapy. Even if you're doing some art therapy under activity therapy, you can indicate what art you did specifically, but we're always going to come from activity therapy.
Okay.
Okay. And the next thing we're going to go is present today. We're always going to do group, and however many members you have. Some of you all may have a little bit more than are on here, and you can just type that in. Okay. For my group, 8 members. All right. Leader interventions. So if you look at the top, it gives,
The leader is the QMHS, correct?
say it
Yes.
again.
The leader is the QMHS. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
That's the QMHS, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So what interventions did we provide in this group? Okay. And look at the top. They have the different topics where we come from. They got marital couple, which we won't use, general interventions, which we will. Okay. So with an art activity therapy, there's usually an assigned activity. Okay. And what did that activity touch on? Was it with behavior management? Yes. Okay. Did
When
it
it
go with
says yes,
creativity?
when it says yes, if you notice in the yellow, that group leader activity intervention comes up. Therapist assigned and directed art or activity project toward a goal of learning the skills of behavior management. Okay.
Yep. So you kind of see how it puts everything together. Like it right here, we just see different phrases and ideas, and it translates it into a sentence and into a
Now,
description of what
under the group
happened.
leader intervention, you might want to put group therapist assigned. That's straightforward. You don't really need a for example on that one. That's pretty straightforward. Okay.
And so you're trying to see how we can specify that. We could talk
The
about the
assignment,
activity that we
the
did.
activity was XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
So what the activity was playing with clay and making clay shapes. That was the activity.
Yep.
So if you wanted to, okay.
Yep. Yep. Creativity and self-regard. would choose this, enhancing creativity and positive self-regard. And I'm going to add to this because we already talked about playing red light, green light, and enhancing creativity and positive self-regard by practicing verbal leadership through a
Using it
game.
through a game. Red light, green lights. Stop.
Okay. And I like, so you guys hear how kind of Mr. Peterson is kind of going after everyone. Okay, let me read through and see, because even though this gives us what phrases to put, we still want to make sure that it makes sense. Okay, so therapist assigned a directed or arts or activity project toward a goal of learning the skills of behavior management, enhancing. See, they put a period right there, so let me put a comma. And I know that seems like, oh my goodness, this is so tedious, but it's not too tedious, but it's just little things we want to make sure. Okay. Enhancing creativity and positive self regard by practicing leadership through a game.
Can you
All
guys hear me?
right. So that's our activity. Any questions up to that point, y'all? Any questions?
No, I have a statement.
Okay.
Well, one of the things that I do, because I do the red light, green light. There are a lot of kids that are on the spectrum that have a hard time like talking to each other. So I try to use red light, green light so they can work on their socialization. In other words, talking to each other, to tell them to be still, so that way if they move, they're called back to the wall. Or leadership skills is another as an example. I stopped doing the red light, green light, and whoever wins, I have them step up in the front to do that. That's a part of leadership, but also just also working together as a team, because there's a lot of kids that have a hard time, speaking to one another based off of their diagnosis. So those are some things that I put in there.
So thank you for that. So
Okay.
here's what we can do. So Catherine, we had a no. What we want to do is, is it possible for us to go through complete and submitting a full note? And we want to just kind of just do that straight through, and then you kind of think out loud as you're going through it from
Yep,
start to
that's what we're
finish.
doing.
No.
Yep.
No, this is what I'm saying. From start to finish without questions. Like nobody, like if we can just get it so we can have it, and then we can go back and ask questions. So if you can, just write your questions or comments in the chat. And then because we're going to go through, because I want to make sure we get it straight. And I love the questions. I love the interaction, but if we can just get it, just so we'll have it from start to finish. So do you mind? Could you go back to where you start off and then get to this point?
Okay. Yes. Yes, I will start over. Okay. Okay. So do you want me to, what are you wanting to happen?
Start from right here.
Okay. So we're gonna go to our group. So we saw how to either go to an existing group or create a new group. We're gonna do that. Then we're gonna go to our group session. So like how we did, we were in a group note, but then we left. We can go back. So let's say we just click on whatever session we want to go to, and it'll take us right back there. Okay. All right. So the first thing that we did was we summarized the entire group. So to add your group remarks, we just click in that yellow box. Real simple. We just click in the box, and everything that we type populates outside to that note. Okay. So we're going to start off and go to therapy type. We discussed that. We're going to do some psychoeducation, whatever really your standard operation with your company, with your LISW is, do that. And then we're going to go to group therapy. All right, and that's what we talked about. We're using activity therapy. All right, let me go back down. I didn't want to. Okay, and we already had present today. 8 members were present in this group. Group leader interventions, we're going to go back to.
And if you can click through, yep, click through those.
Yeah, when you click in the box, it starts it over. It's good. So when you
Oh,
click in the
okay.
box, it's going to start
Gotcha.
it over. So
Gotcha.
when you see these headings,
Gotcha. They connect
that's
to
where
that.
we're coming from, okay? But
Mhm.
we're still gonna get it. We're still gonna see. Let me go down. Let me go all the way down, and we'll pick up where we left. Okay. Group leader interventions. Okay, so leader interventions.
Therapist assigned and directed an art activity project toward a goal of learning skills of behavior management, enhancing creativity and positive self-regard, and practicing verbal leadership through a game. Okay, cool.
Mhm. So that's kind of when we were talking about the specific thing that we did. So, um, leader intervention. This is the topic that we went through was art and activity therapy. Art and activity therapy. We assigned an activity, and that's when we were discussing the red light, green light. That was the game that kind of, what did it say? Created positive self-regard by practicing verbal leadership through a game. All right. We can also look at the general, like I said, also we're not really doing marital couple. So we don't need to use anything under that heading. Then we want to go down to general interventions. Discussion facilitated. We usually always have some type of discussion. Okay. What was the discussion about? We saw that this topic was knowing my triggers. Okay. So if I'm knowing my triggers, that's going to help me with behavior management techniques. All right. I'm going to click on that as an option. And I don't know if you all just saw how saw my mouse go over that.
I got something for that. You might be a
This
little.
program helps with when you click on an option, it's going to turn yellow. So if you're confused, like, did I click that? Did I put that in there yet? It's going to turn yellow to help you track what you've used already. Okay. All right. So behavior management tech, group leader facilitated discussion about behavior management techniques. Setting limits, providing structure to children, communicating feelings, frustration tolerance, coping skills, peer support. I'm reading off the options. Child development, communication skills, reality testing, and building self-esteem. Okay, so in our group, it was definitely providing structure to children. And you see how it adds it. Sometimes it'll put a period in, and I'm going to add a comma so I can build my list of things that we did.
Catherine, I just wanted to say that sometimes they can put more than one answer too.
Yes,
Yeah.
we definitely can put more than one answer.
Like
So we
Kevin.
started off with
Okay,
behavior
yeah.
management, then structure to children. This is also a coping skill. Okay. We're also working on communication skills. When you're knowing what triggers you, we can communicate that to others. We can learn to communicate that and let them know what frustrates us. Okay. So again, I'm going to go back and add my correct punctuation. I'm going to read through group leader facilitated discussion about behavior management techniques, providing structure and support to children, clarifying areas of difficulty, and identifying coping skills, communication skills, coping skills, as well as, oh, excuse me, you guys, that was a stutter, look, as well as communication skills. Okay. So I'm kind of going through, I'm giving you guys my thought process. This is how I'm thinking when I'm going through and doing a note. All right. So I finished my general intervention. Like Ms. Murray said, we can do a couple more. So we of course discussed we had a discussion, and I kept my group focused. Okay. And that just goes in, kept group focus. And also, since we had psychoeducation as our group name, so psychoeducation was provided. And our main thing was setting limits when we're talking about our triggers and what everything. So setting limits. Ms. Murray, were you saying something?
I was just gonna say some of the notes that we have seen in the past is, like if you starting out with art therapy and then you start to talk about music, because you can do several activities, just be mindful that you're answering and it's not like not running together. So just because you click several buttons, like Catherine has several, but they make sense. Like she's sticking with the verbal and the, in the behaviors. So she's sticking with that because you don't want to jump around and just click just to get the clicking buttons. So just because you're allowed, you can put more than one, just have it make sense. And I'm saying, for example, and I just keep using this one because somebody has spoke to this one, like they were working on fractions with the kids. But it's kind of can make it hard for you to write a therapeutic note when you're saying we're working on fractions. Not saying that you can't use fractions, but like she said, put that like in the phonics part, or your they need to work on their math, their academic skills. You don't always have to say we're working on fractions. So just making sure you guys understand that. Just be mindful of not having your own agenda instead of a therapeutic agenda, basically is what I'm saying.
Yes, that's important. And the last part of this is our plan. Okay, so after all of this, what is our plan? Of course, we want to continue groups and we want to continue skill development. Okay, now for some of your groups, you may have it may be some behavior problems where you're like, I needed to encourage their participation. Okay, I need to refer them for further intervention because we're going through these things, we're going over their goals, and it seems like they're still not really catching on to the, what we're doing, then you would go to refer for further intervention. Okay. And then in the instructions recommendation. So with this, you all, I'm going off of what I do, some best practices. You also want to think of what you're using, specifically with your groups. But for this, I say usually I recommend, and I heard Miss Karma say this as well, and I think Miss Nicole, somebody else, talk about keeping a journal, and that's a really important thing. That's something that we can use. We can use in every setting. Keep a journal so that they know their progress. I'm gonna type it in as I go. You
I
guys can just
ask
read along.
that all programs journal daily. It should
Yes,
be a
ma'am.
part of their
Yes.
time. Also, like some of them have smaller ones that are not able to really write yet, but they can draw, and we can see their progression as they start to write, and then as the year goes on. So please journal.
Progress.
It is, so the instructions is that it's recommended that all clients keep a journal so that they are constantly aware of their progress. This has helped with their motivation during group sessions. Boom.
Okay. So once we're done, plan is the last part of this group therapy session remarks. So I'm going to go back. And now I'm going to go to my individualized part. Okay. So I have eight clients in my group. I'm going to go to my first one, remarks. Okay. Is this box in the way? Let me see.
Nope, we can say it.
All right. So we're going to start with their appearance. Okay. In today's session, Jolyn appeared calm. Now, these parts right here, we don't need to add our own. It's really best that we keep it simple. Okay. Just think about yourself as a teacher. Teachers often don't want to read a huge, if I give you an assignment and I say I want these components, I don't want 10 pages to read. I want it to the point and succinct. Okay. So in today's session, Jolin appeared calm. Okay. He was, so up here, it might be a couple things, but he was just simply calm. Communicative. We want to see how they were communicating. He was moderately communicative. Okay. Um, Down here, we don't necessarily have to pick any, okay, as long as we have some, but he was also relaxed. Okay. And then I don't know if you all see the pattern. We go from top to bottom, from the left to the right. Okay. So now I'm going to go down to participation. And I'm going to go to the right to get my complete descriptions. Okay. So this is his group participation. It was normal and appropriate. So you see how it goes into a sentence. Jolin's participation today was normal with responses to others and sharing of personal experiences and feelings. All right. We have to indicate whether they stayed or not, okay, or left early. He stayed the entire session. How was his comprehension? He comprehended well what was happening in today's session. Okay. And then down here, it gives some more descriptors of how he was. Okay. All right. Down at the bottom, approach to activity or art. This is where we really individualize. Okay. So what was their approach to the activity? He was cooperative. Okay. Was cooperative. He showed good sportsmanship. Excuse me. Sportsmanship by giving a group member a high five when they
That's good.
was going to do a direct quote. Okay.
Mhm.
So we talked about a direct quote, but we can also use a direct action. Okay.
Mhm.
So he showed good sportsmanship by giving a group member a high five when they made it to the end of the red light, green light course. All right. He was also self-expressive. So I want to pay attention to where the cursor is, you all, because if I were to leave my cursor up here and then I select another option, it's going to cut my sentence in half. So I want to put my cursor down below, hit enter, and then I want to go to my next descriptor, which he was self-expressive. And we see down there, it just says self-expressive. I'm going to make that a little more complete. I'm going to say he was also, excuse me, self-expressive during discussion. All right. And I'm going to go down to behavior. All right. His behavior, he was attentive. Now you all see all the options. There can be any option and there's no wrong answer. It's simply an observation on how these people are acting, how the clients are acting during group. Okay. So he was attentive. All right. Was he disruptive, fidgety, impulsive, inactive? He was insightful. Okay. And then you guys see all these other options as well. All right. He was
Mhm.
also sharing. He was willing to share. Jolin was focused and attentive in group today. He presented as perceptive and insightful. Jolin readily shared his experiences and feelings in group today. All right. So verbal content that's where we talk about what they the topics of what they were talking about. All right. So we were talking about triggers, what triggers you. This is also the point where, okay, I'm knowing my kids' treatment plans. I know that my guy Jolin, he's working on anger management. That's his topic. So, and a lot of the times that comes up in conversation in groups. So he talked about his low frustration tolerance, how nonsense frustrates him. He does not like nonsense. Okay, so Jolin spoke about problems arising from a low tolerance for frustration today during the session. He stated that kids not listening really bothers me. I can't handle the nonsense. Okay, you see, I put my quotation marks in. Okay. And that kind of indicates his low frustration tolerance. All right. Mental status exam, you all will use this if you are met with a kid who seems like they could be in crisis, who seems like they're really anxious, they're really, going through some things. We might want to do a mental status exam for the day. Okay. That's where we're going to describe their mood. But for my guy, his mood was normal. Okay. You might see there might be something different. Okay. For you to even want to do this mental status exam. You might see that they are anxious about something. Okay. This is how we dig and get to the root of things like, okay, this is something's going on with them. Let me record that. But this person had no anxiety. Psychosis. Psychosis is when they are acting very out of character, very erratic, in any type of way. And we do want to notate that, but this person had no psychotic symptoms. But down here we have other things: hallucinations, delusions, thought disorder. Okay. We want to notate how speech was. Okay. His speech was normal. How was their attention? His attention was normal. A lot of people we have with short attention spans that are distractible, restless. Okay. His associations were concrete. Okay, cognition, there was no loss. But like I said, we only want to do a mental status exam if we see that if a kid is in some type of crisis and we need to assess that during that session, okay? I wanted you all to see that option. Now we want to move down to suicidal, homicidal. Most of the time, generally, we will have not suicidal, not homicidal. Sometimes we will have to address that in a group, okay, where they have said they've wished to be or have ideas or that they don't have plans or that they do have intentions. We want to notate which one it is, okay? Stage of change. Now, the stage of change represents the scale, the continuum of knowing that they need to change versus changing their behavior. A lot of our kids that we work with are in the area of pre-contemplation and contemplation. We'll go more into depth about what each step means, but I just wanted to give you guys, as long as you know this is a continuum of, okay, I need to change to actually changing, okay? Most of our kids are in pre-contemplation and contemplation. My guy here is at contemplation. He knows that there are some things that he needs to work on. He wants to work on his anger. He's understanding what frustrates him. So he's contemplating. All right. Now, this is the part where we link it to our treatment plan. Okay. This is our button up here, link to treatment plan. All right. So let's start at the top. This note references treatment plan, his individual service plan. His problem was anger management. As we see the goals in here, Jolin will express anger in verbally appropriate ways rather through actions with the goal of down here. Okay, so we use that one. I'm not going to use this one down here. I'm going to unselect this one because we definitely talked about verbal ways to express his triggers. All right. And then I'm going to click up here where it says link interventions. You also may have times where you use both goals, and that's okay as well. But I'm going to hit link. You see how now his long-term goal, the short-term goal, and interventions also populated into the goal. All right. I'm going to include his barriers and strengths. Progress in meeting goals and resolving problems. He is having moderate progress. Okay. So this is, I'm going to go back to this part. This is where we tell how much progress is made and if we're going to keep working on this goal. All right. So continue current plan and progress seen. So we want to continue still on working on some anger management, but he is making progress though. You all see the other options: continue current plan, more time needed, new short-term goals to be set, plan will be changed at next team meeting. These are the options that we'll choose once we get to their treatment plan needing to be updated. By the way, we update treatment plans every 90 days, every 3 months. Okay. So let me select my option. Up here now, some people you kind of talked about not having a treatment plan or not having a treatment plan directly in ICANS. I had a time where I did not have treatment plans in the system because I had to transport them, long story short, but I made buttons for them, meaning, I don't know if you all can see this right here. So this was Jolin's button. This gave all of his information. This was my other, so there are ways that we can make sure that your treatment plan, at least their goals and objectives, are linked into the notes. Okay. And guys, make sure you are writing down any questions or any concerns as I'm going through, because I feel like I'm talking fast, but I'm also trying to make sure I go through everything. Okay. So that's the last step, you all. Once we link our treatment plan and we hit the back button, this note for this individual is completed. Okay. So I'm going to go back. Now you see how this box is green because I completed his. The rest are blue because I did not complete them yet. Okay. For the sake of time, I'm going to show you also. Imagine I'm doing that for each client. I'm doing that for each resident. You see how we went through with Jolin and specify what he said, specify how he felt, linked his treatment plan to that note. We're going to do the same thing for everyone, okay? Once we get to the last person, we're going to go to number 5, okay? Create notes and pause to review work areas, or create notes and automatically compile and e-sign each note. Create notes without. So I'm going to do this one right now. Usually, once we finish all of our clients, we're going to create the note and automatically compile and e-sign, but I'm only doing one at a time, and I want you all to see how this goes. So I'm going to create the notes without pausing. Okay. We always do our groups at the same time. This helps. A lot of you all do your groups at the same time as well with camps or whatever activity, but we always do 5 o'clock to 7:30. Okay. And it tells our length of session. I don't need any cosigners necessarily because I only have 8 in my group. Now, once when our LISW has to sign our notes, they will be able to see that by looking at their list that says their supervisees. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that necessarily. Okay, once I fill in all this important information, I'm going to select continue, and this is how it's going to compile.
Wait,
Okay.
I can't hear anymore if you're still talking after you said this is how we compile.
Oh, nope, I didn't say anything. I was waiting for it to load. Sorry for that pause. I was waiting for it to load because
Okay,
sometimes it
sorry.
loads. Nope, you're fine. Okay, so this is the group therapy progress notes. I
And
didn't want
sometimes
to e-sign it yet. I didn't want to e-sign it yet. Say it again.
I was also like, this is a time also to look it over one more time. Maybe go ahead and click
Mhm.
the spell check there just to make sure our spelling. And then that was one thing I would look at. Just look at it one more time before you
Yep.
send it off.
Yes.
And then what happens next
And
after that, Catherine?
hold on one second. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go to return because I want to see. Okay. So yep, I'm going back to the work area, and then I'm gonna do compile and e-sign. All right. So this is what a compiled note looks like. This is what a compiled note looks like. Okay. And let's see, it took me off of there. Hold on one second.
That's slow.
Okay. So that's what it looks like. For some reason, if I don't do them all at the same time, hold on, let me see.
Now,
Okay.
have you ever gotten to that
So
screen when she was asking about I think it was I forgot which person was asking about that. But
yeah,
have you
that's
ever
where we just were
okay,
about with the compiling. So if you
yes.
guys look over here, look over here. So that's what just I don't know if you guys were able to see, and hopefully we can open up the floor for questions soon, but look down here. The first one that I did that I completed, you see the boxes checked off, it's finished and it's signed, and that's
Okay.
green. For all the other ones, when we try to compile those, they're not done yet. We get a red box. It won't let us compile them if it's not finished. Also, I heard someone ask about turning it in. The idea of turning a note in, everything is already turned in the system. The thing that we need to do is what it says right here, finish and sign. Once we finish and sign, our team, the administrators team, can go in and collect billing and do everything that they need to do, okay? So once you get to this part and finish and sign, you're done with that part.
Now, and it won't even let you sign off if you don't have a treatment plan connected to it, right?
It
I'm
will.
asking. It will. Oh,
It still
okay.
will. Yeah, it still will.
So what do you
Because
recommend?
remember,
Should
that's when
we?
I was talking. Go ahead.
No, you go.
We
That's where I was talking about I had made a button about like their goals and objectives if need be. But for this situation with what we're dealing with them, we're just gonna make sure that their treatment plans are put in.
We don't compile the notes, and I hate that we have like different clinicians here that would have different things that their preferences are. But what we're doing is right now, I would just say blended minds and entwined light and mm, what's the
Tiny tots.
teeny tots. I would say
Mhm.
I would just tell them don't finish to compile their note until we check them, until we can see that they're,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Again, yeah, absolutely right. And then the other
So
group that's with TCA, you guys will get with your people at TCA for them to check it.
yeah. So what
They
that would
probably
look like, guys, what that would look like is how we went and we went through this entire note, and then we got to the end, we linked our treatment plan and we go back. We would just leave it at that until our administrators tell us, okay, we checked your note out, it's good. Then you will go all the way to the right where it was those options to compile and e-sign. Okay.
so basically the same thing. Yep. So until you get from your supervisor to compile.
Yeah.